We are emotionally attached to the interests, desires, and concerns we think about. This can be painful when confronted with frustration over the reality of what transpires in our life. Our desires often do not get met, yet we remain mentally attached to them. In Eastern practices, the word attachment reminds us of something we can let go of. That is, the desirous thoughts that leave us emotionally bound and despairing. I would like to propose a way to keep the word attachment in our mental vocabulary, but switch its focus a little bit. I offer this because it is my experience that feeding the mind what it likes is an approach worth exploring rather than fighting it. What I'm after is soothing the mind, not starving it. I am interested in feeding it something truthful but satisfying, rather than depriving it of nourishment altogether. I have devised an exercise that comforts me. As my work is about training the mind to put attention on our real-life story, as opposed to our imaginings, this approach follows that practice. The word attachment is very pleasing to our mind. It isn't necessary to get rid of the concept, as there are healthy things to be attached to, like when we exchange junk food for whole natural foods. I am suggesting the same here. I am talking about identification. What would be healthy for our mind to identify with? It likes to fixate on acquiring things, and some of those objects give us a feeling of support while others torture us. Let's go for the support. There are some things in life we receive naturally, automatically. We get them for free. Since much of our suffering comes from attaching to thoughts of desired objects we have no guarantee of obtaining, we feel vulnerable. It is awful to depend on things we have no sure way of attaining. But there are types of attachments that are guaranteed and thus easy to obtain. We just don't realize it. I believe our mind doesn't necessarily differentiate between types of objects of desire, but is instead obsessed with attachment itself. It wants security in something. We can lead it to emotionally safer landings that will assure it security. What could these be? They're simple. I will explain. Because of the force of gravity, something we never think about, our body is always being pulled onto some surface that is supported by the ground, if not the ground itself. This includes a floor, a piece of furniture, and even car seats and airplane floors and seats. There is never a time in our life we are not on some surface. Though we know this intellectually, if we are reminded of it, we can also see it with our naked eye. We can look down at any time and view the surface we are on. We are physically attached to Earth, as there is no way to resist gravity. This is a concrete, reliable grounding we cannot escape as human organisms. Gravity provides a guaranteed natural attachment in our life. We must now get acquainted with it so we can substitute it for our imaginary attachments. As a therapeutic practice, we can do this in any moment we are in emotional pain. When we are sad, anxious, frustrated, disappointed, or in an acute state of wanting, it is useful to begin by locating what we are clinging onto in our mind. What are our deepest wants that aren't being fulfilled? Get familiar with these, whether momentary or recurring. This is what I do on a piece of paper or just in my mind. I name one thing I wish would happen. Then I narrow it down to one word that represents the desire. For common purposes, let's make an example: money. Money is my mental attachment. Feel the word in you, the fear that may be connected to it, and the concern over perhaps not having enough or knowing how to get more. Money. We can call it Exhibit A in the mental attachment category. Now we will identify another attachment that does not evoke insecurity because of its guaranteed nature. Look directly down at the surface you are on and name it. For me, that would be couch. See it and get familiar with the fact that you are really on it. Understand you are a whole body, head attached to the rest of you, another natural attachment that escapes us, falling onto a surface because of gravity. We know we're falling because if someone pushed us off a building or pulled the trapdoor out from under us, we would fall. Okay, couch is the word. Now make a simple sentence indicating what is occurring on this surface, in other words, what you are doing. For me, that would be, I am sitting on the couch. To keep things simple for the mind, it's best to start with a sentence that references only the relationship of your body to the surface. It could be, I am sitting on the bench. I am standing on the floor. I am lying on the bed. This is a real action that is occurring on the surface your body is on. If that is the only activity going on, leave it at that. If your body parts are engaged in further activity, which they often are, like I am writing in the notebook or I am drinking a cup of tea, add those, whatever they are. You can be as thorough as you want. Notice, however, and this is key, that no matter how many actions are taking place by your body in the moment, they are all occurring on the surface you are on, since there is no part of you that is not of your body. The entirety of your actions ever to be executed will only take place on the surface your body is on. Let's call this real attachment Exhibit B. In this case, that would be couch. It is one simple word like money was in Exhibit A. Though it is only one word, it is important to remember that it houses your full collection of actions currently possible, because there is no part of you that is not your body. You can make a small chart featuring Exhibit A and Exhibit B, money and couch respectively. Both columns represent attachments, one being imaginary, the other absolute. The word attachment is good because we are trying to feed the mind what it likes, just a healthier version. Here is the application and the exercise. When you are emotionally distressed, find that one word that represents the heart of your discomfort, money, for example, and immediately replace it with couch. One attachment exchanged for another. Money is part of a mental story, a question. How will I get more money? How will I have enough money? How will I do the right thing to get the money? Where can I get a job? Let your mind feel all the questions associated with the desire that word represents. Now turn to its solution, the other attachment, couch. This marks your physical reality and overrides any ideas you may have about how you should be spending time. List the action occurring on that couch. I am sitting on the couch, writing in the notebook, sipping tea, for my example. The first is a question, the second an answer. I will elaborate. Our mental attachments are things we want or want to happen. The pain comes from the not knowing how to achieve them, or if we ever will. But these desires are often speculative and based on psychological and cultural conditioning of what we believe is supposed to be going on in our life. There is nothing stronger than mental conditioning, so I don't say this lightly. It is the hardest thing all of us are up against, and thus warrants a hardcore technique that can calm its flame. In Eastern practices, it is what is referred to as the ego. So we have our question, how can I get these things I want? And we have our answer, the surface we are on. Though this response will seem insignificant and unrelated as a solution to my problem, it is not, for two reasons. Firstly, our example, I am sitting on the couch, is the only thing I can possibly be doing now because it's where I find my body, and there is no me other than my body. And remember, whenever you check in with yourself, it will be now. If a body is occupying space where it is, that is an is, which cannot be denied once it is occurring. This is no different than observing any other body of matter in the space it is occupying. A piece of furniture, another person, an animal, a planet, etc. People can only act in real time via their physical bodies. Consequently, whatever we see ourselves doing is our true action, something the mind has a hard time computing. Secondly, though this task may seem irrelevant to my mental interest, in this case money, it is part of the path of activity that will lead to whatever my future relationship to money is going to be. If it doesn't turn out to be directly related, in the least, it is part of the stream of continual activity my body must take to get to future events that will be connected to my attainment of money. And finally, if money doesn't ever materialize in the way I imagined, then it wasn't supposed to. Our real path of physical action, that is, what our body does in real time, indicates what should be happening, whether that makes sense to us or not, for the sole reason that it is all that can physically be happening, once it is. There is no debating physical reality. This exercise not only diverts the mind to something that is stabler, an actual attachment as opposed to a fantasy one, but ironically provides the only solution that will ever exist for any of our problems. Strangely, the pathway to obtaining the money I want is to write in the notebook right now. I can't know how this is true, but it doesn't matter. Because it is all that is physically possible, it is my only option. In addition to the fact that it is the solution to my desire, I get it for free. There will never be a time we will be lacking a surface word to put in our Exhibit B column. Play with this. Here are some other examples. Exhibit A. I need money, love, a baby, a job, travel, health, a divorce. Exhibit B. I am on a couch, chair, floor, bed, car, plane, tub, rock, mountain. List all your desires, ideas, wants, interests, etc. And then list all your current actions that are occurring on your surfaces. Then mentally note that your physical attachment to a surface is your only solution to all your worries, because there is no other route you can ever take. This practice kills two birds with one stone. It satiates our mental need of something to cling onto by showing us our actual physical attachment, and it offers the only answer to our problem.